Okay, welcome. If you've seen some of my other Norns videos, then you will have heard this quite familiar pattern. The difference between this one and the previous one is that this one uses an implementation that has been adapted using Mutable Instruments Rings. I really like the app because you've got essentially a dual sequencer. You hear the lines from the top sequencer, and those lines are then transposed or have additional values added to them by the lower sequencer, the lower steps. So what you see here is basically a pattern that has the top sequencer is running in 8 steps and the lower sequencer is running in 7. So they start phasing against each other. So I'm just going to have a little play and then we'll move on to some of the parameters. So this K3 here, this button 3, creates randomization of the pattern. And to alter the sequencer, we use K2. And then we can apply randomization to that. So turning encoder 1, which is this one here, encoder 1, leads you to other parameters that you can edit. So that's the step screen, and then we move into the loop. So that's the sound of 3 at the top, 2 underneath, equal. Let's go back to the step. Kind of helps sometimes to hear something in the space that you can see in the top one there. So if you look at the upper sequencer at the moment, you can see this encoder 2 here. It's a bit like those kind of Pong tennis type games where you're moving the paddle around, and then that addresses the particular step. Sometimes you can do it so that, say, loop length number 1 is just 1, and actually use the lower sequencer to essentially generate a number of different patterns. So you can see what's happening there. Let me put some more in. Oh, on the wrong step. So for this one, there's one step in the upper sequencer and the number of steps in the lower sequencer. Again, there's no, we have to swap out of the window if we want to make, or that particular parameter there, so that we can extend. And do the sound, so the amount of decay, because this is rings, you get that familiar rings, sort of bell-like, string-like decay. The coefficient is really interesting. The way that just dampens it down. So as you open it up in terms of the decay, and of course brighter. You can hear now where it starts to alter the pitch. It's almost kind of like FM, isn't it? It's become much more of a woody sound. And obviously in options we can change the pitch, make it B flat, A sharp. I never see it as A sharp really. And then when you hold the K1, the key 1 here, you get a number of other parameters you can change in terms of the scale base. So if we wanted it to be Lydian, takes a while for the new scale to kind of assert itself. And divisions is really interesting because obviously you can get that rapid kind of bursts. Now when we hit K1, we also get some additional parameters. If we decided to go for select, then we would be able to change the algorithm and the app and so on. We turn the encoder 1, then you get a number of other parameters, get edits and so on. So pressing K3 gets us into a number of parameters. These are the familiar ones that you might want to sort of edit immediately. For myself, I tend to like to go all the way down here. I don't have like the grids or anything else like that, so I kind of work on this. So step division is the same as the fourth window that we were looking at in terms of the additional parameters. Note length, scale mode, root, probability. So the probability of an event taking place on a particular step. Let's have a listen to that. Let's have a listen to that for a bit. So you have amplitude, obviously. You have the decay, so you can increase its loudness. You've got the decay that we've been looking at, so we can tighten that up. We can increase or decrease the coefficient. A number of filter crossovers. Okay, you can make quite a radical difference in the sound. With the band pass around, you can hear a more nasal kind of quality coming in. You can do pan. I've only got this coming out in mono, so I'm not going to do the pan. Likewise, delay volume, the rate of delay, so it's very much like an analog delay in terms of it doesn't immediately jump to the value. Which is a nice touch. Control the feedback. And again, the panning, it's in mono. Let's not go there. The difference with this one is that instead of having both the patterns, if you've seen the other video where I've gone through Awake, the original app, then the pattern is actually available on this page. But the pattern is, patterns 1 and 2 are available on their own dedicated pages. And so from here, you can edit the note values. So 0 means nothing. So the length of the part, so that's 8 steps. Let me change a few of these. Remember that they're always being operated upon by pattern 2. So let's vary the length of pattern 2 so that it's just 1. Change the value of pattern 2 so you can hear it affecting. Change it to 0. So that's the pattern without the additional values from pattern 2. Pattern 1, we're listening to pattern 1, bring in pattern 2, step 1, so you can hear it increasing up 1 step. Let's change the pattern length to 2 and change that one to 0. What I like to do sometimes, like when playing with this, and again remember I haven't got grids or anything else like that, so it's, you have to do everything manually, but being able to kind of generate a sort of a part by moving one element. So here there are 2 steps. Currently step 2, or data 2 as it says there, is 0. Bring it into a value above number 1, step 1. You can then back to the 3. You can hear there's the almost kind of like the superimposition of a change, like a change from 5 to 2. It's kind of a 2-5 type progression. And then the idea is to, manipulating this stuff in real time and then just capturing it on Ableton. So I'm going to alter the length, change the different data values, and let's have a listen to what that sounds like. Now that's an interesting approach. If you can see here where I'm doing a like moving one of the values around so that they're adjacent either above or below. So at the moment data 3 is one step above data 2. But instead of getting data 3 to the same value as data 2, to actually skip, jump over and have the value before. So you've always kind of got this sort of semi-tonal or tone relationship based on whatever the underlying scale is. And then they kind of leapfrog over each other. Then of course when you bring back in data 1, you then have 1, 2, 3, but not in order, not in linear order. So you could use 1 to jump over to say 4. So it goes 4, 3, 2. Go to number 2, data 3, the value 2, and jump to 5. So always kind of moving them. So this one would jump to 6. And there you have it. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm going to try and cover some of the other Awake apps. I do like them. And there's also a sort of a West Coasty low pass gate one as well, which would be interesting. And some of the lesser heard sort of apps, like some of the droney ones, I'll be going through as well. Okay, until next time, enjoy.